Judy Shineland, she makes better than $50 million a year. And I got yelled at because I took two Twinkies instead of one when they were...
Oh, come on. That's ridiculous.
You're getting paid. And the worst part of it is you work minimum wage and you don't get paid until you actually walk in the studio. So that means that for the half an hour to an hour that you're standing in line waiting to get in, you don't get paid for that. A lot of people come out to spec for the show. Now, what is specking? That means that even though you're not booked to be on the show, you show up anyway, hoping that somebody else doesn't show up, and then you get their spot. On any given day in front of Bronson Studios, for the people lined up to see Judge Judy or the other court shows, you'd see people just kind of standing around and hoping that somebody doesn't show up, that there's a spot open for them. And if they do, they get in. Or then they would go maybe drive to another show and then spec on that show, and they would keep specking from show to show. And then during lunchtime, and by lunchtime I mean like you have to go to Arby's next door to go get your own lunch. I mean, for the money that show generates, I mean, they could literally like put in a whole buffet thing and
yeah.
You might say, hey, wait a minute, I got a job and my company doesn't provide craft services. You guys are all spoiled in Hollywood, et cetera, but understand that a lot of people who do this are a paycheck away from homelessness.
Yeah.
They do all the shows for the week in one day.
Mm.
And the people who are the litigants, some of them have legitimate grievances with that they want to get their case settled, and the winner gets a larger pot of a pool of money that is offered to the litigants. But sometimes it's fake in that the person knows that they have not a chance of winning, but they're kind of egged on to go present their case to the judge so that Judy can basically chew them out.
Make them look stupid.
Yeah, and it's almost always people that don't have the ability to speak well for themselves. It's usually poor people. They get humiliated in front of the judge for everybody's entertainment. Not to say that some of them don't deserve it, but basically you have a woman who's quite capable of cutting somebody down. That's that she's made a career out of it. So some of the other shows I did was Gloria Allred had a show, and one time I was sitting next to the flats, which is like the fake wall. And on the other side, the producer was basically telling Gloria Allred what to say when they would present the next case. So she had all these quick one-liners, but that was because they fed it to her before she actually got out there. So all that quick-witted whatever, it's kind of, it's not really...
it's not her.
It didn't come out of her, yeah. The litigants on that show are not real. I worked one show, the Guinness Book of World Records, and the audience wranglers, the company that hired them, were just nasty and mean to everybody. People were getting fired left and right. I mean, a lot of people who do audience work are pretty vulnerable people. I mean, young kids who come out to Hollywood and it's their first time here and they want to, they want to learn about the entertainment industry. They want to see what a working set looks like. So it may be of benefit. But if you're spending all your time doing that, that means you're not really working in any kind of job that's paying bills. So you kind of become dependent on working as an audience extra or a background actor. They would dress the best they can, but sometimes their clothes were tattered a little bit. And they would wear the same thing from show to show.
It's almost like a degrading industry. It really is.
I mean, these companies would get away with things that no other industry could get away with. Most of these shows, you are not allowed to bring in a cell phone. You would have to leave it in your car, which would be a problem if you don't have a car, and you need your cell phone in order to get bookings for other shows. So sometimes I would have to try to sneak in my cell phone. A couple of times, actually, I had security give me a lot of problems over it. There were instances where audience people would leave their phones. They would hide it in the bushes in front of the studio, hoping that nobody would take it. And more often than not, those phones would disappear when they came back out. And this was every time. Sometimes as a working audience person, you're kind of mixed in with the tourists. And you know how tourists have a reputation for behaving badly? Yeah, including Hollywood. There were some nice people that I've met. I remember that when I did The Price is Right, there was one fan who was so excited to be there that he literally went from person to person, shaking everybody's hand, because it was a big moment in his life to go see a show that he, like most of us, we grew up watching that show. In my situation, I was paired up with these horrible people. I mean, they wouldn't shut up. And then what they do is they do like a pre-interview before you, to see if you would be a good contestant. So this young lady did her whole bubbly thing, and then when it was my turn to speak, she literally got in front of me and kept talking. I mean, it was my turn, and she even apologized, but I guess that was enough to still impress the producers that she got up to Contestants Row.
Oh, jeez.
You have to be an extrovert and a jerk.
Oh, thanks.
The best part of that show was all these sad, unhappy people after the show who had all their overly colorful T-shirts and their, this stuff. It was really, and then you would see them like standing by the bus stop, and
So even the paid audience members have the opportunity to possibly be up there?
to a point.
Oh, okay. So they don't really want you there.
They would prefer you didn't do it, but sometimes even the production didn't know if you were a paid audience person or not. I had this one friend who won a car on Let's Make a Deal. They wouldn't give him the car until the show actually aired. If for some technical reason or whatever that show did not go to air, he didn't get the car. More often than not, they just give you the cash instead of the actual car. Or then they have to like work something out with a dealership for you to go get the car. And then when you do get the car, you got to pay a shit ton of money in taxes. A lot of taxes.
Taxes and fees.
Oh yeah. I did one show called the Jeff Probst Show, and I guess it was my good luck. That was the episode where they're giving away a ton of prizes just to everybody was getting, because it was like a thing for Valentine's Day. So everybody walked out with a box of chocolates and flowers and gift certificates and all this stuff. Tickets to go see somebody in Las Vegas, tickets for a hotel room in Las Vegas. So basically, I got stuck paying for the taxes on all that. And in the end, I realized, what the hell do I need with a bouquet of roses? I'm like, so I gave that to my apartment manager. The chocolates, I think I gave that to somebody else. The hotel room and the tickets to go see the show went to this one weird friend I have.
Me.
I guess in me talking about this, what I really hope is that the industry will do better. Hopefully, as the pandemic subsides, maybe it won't just be business as usual. Maybe people who do this will be treated with a little bit more respect. They can certainly pay people a little better. They can certainly at least provide a meal. I hope there's a positive in people who speak out about this. So having done this for longer than I care to admit, I do have a ton of stories to tell. But maybe we can do that in a future episode. So leave a comment below if you really want to see it. And of course, you better subscribe. And if you do subscribe, I will definitely follow up on this one.
Yeah. Watch, like, and subscribe.
That's right. And ring
our bell.
Ring the bell, yeah.